Hello, my name is Tracy Armstrong, and I'm a student in EDM 310 at the University of South Alabama. And today I will be interviewing Mr. Labrice Watts. Mr. Watts is a special education resource teacher at Central Baldwin Middle School. The reason why I chose him for my interview is because last week for my classroom assessments project, I had to write a paper about if I had a child in my class with a learning disability, how would I accommodate them? So I figured Mr. Watts would be a great person to go to get his take on that. So at this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Watts to explain to us a day in his life as the special education resource teacher at Central Baldwin Middle School.
Good evening, good morning. How are y'all out there? A daily life in a special education resource is a never dull moment. First of all, when you get there in the morning time, you gotta be prompt. I usually get there about 6:45, 6:50. Sometimes I have to beat the bus because the fact that you never know what time the bus is getting there in the morning because you have so many students in resources. And I work in a multi-disabled classroom. Therefore, most of the kids get there by right about 6:50, almost 7 o'clock. And the daily morning with me is getting the kids off the bus, whether in a wheelchair or just happen to get off the bus because there's some type of disability while walking. We get in the classroom, they have to put up their backpacks and bring their agendas to me, signed from their parents. After that, we definitely have to go to our morning tasks. Morning tasks will be consulted of either a little math game with puzzles, building blocks, sorting mail. Each student has their own area where they have to go. Everyone to start off that morning task, and that they does that about 30 to 45 minutes until all my students get there. Normally, I have about 8 students in this classroom, and once most all the students get there, is that they usually get there around about 7:50 before the bell rings. Once they get there, is everything. Everybody goes to the round table, and now we talk about our morning. I tell them good morning. Most of them that do talk say good morning back and how somehow their morning was. After the morning, it's time for breakfast. I pick 2 students to go to the cafeteria with the buggy to get the breakfast. Once the breakfast is get back, we all say our blessings. Once the blessings, they eat. Once they have eaten, then it's time for the morning announcements. We all stand up and do the pledge in a moment of silence. After that is all done, then we go into back into our routine of hands-on working tasks. Some go get clothes out the dryer to fold. Some put some in to wash. Others
Okay.
load and unload the dishwasher. And after that, it's time for our basic morning work, where we go over to the other side of the classroom and work on our smartboard hands-on. Because
Okay.
most of our students, therefore, learn from visual learning and hands-on projects. So basically, that's a daily morning in the special ed resource, and that's just the beginning.
Okay. So in other words, this is not a 7 to 3 job.
No, it's not a 7 to 3 job. It's get there in the morning and be prepared to stay there to maybe about 4 or 5 o'clock.
Oh, and then I heard you say a couple of students may not even be able to talk. So how do you
Yeah,
accommodate those?
students that are we call those our nonverbal students. And with those students, we have icons on them where we have little pictures of things that they might need as far as the bathroom or if it's snack time or it's time for to go to PE. We have a little icon set on their desk, and they if there's something they need,
Mm-hmm.
they'll point and let us know what they need.
Okay. Wow. And another thing you said that sparked my interest. You said the smart board. I just did a project earlier today about working a smart board. So the smart board, I mean, they really know how to work it and
Tell you the
you
truth,
know,
these kids are smarter than me when it comes to a smart board or an iPad. It's just
okay.
something that it's just a learned behavior with them that they are already equipped with.
Yeah.
Because I'm illiterate when it comes to the smart board, and most of those kids in there have already learned those basic skills coming up from elementary school before they get to the middle school. So they help me with things coming from the smart board. So they're very
Wow.
equipped because
Okay.
this modern day is good for technology.
Okay. And I did have another question too, since we're talking about the smart board. How do your principals and your superintendents feel about the technology in the school?
The technology in the school, coming from the principal and especially the superintendent, I commend him on this new technology because most kids now are more prone to the technology of a laptop or as far as smart board or either iPad. I'm old school. I like the old school. I'm a book and some paper, and these kids coming with all this new technology. So
Right.
I commend it's old school for me, but it's new to them because I prefer the old way. But this new way is easy for them because it's good visual learning and hands on.
Yes, visual learning and hands-on.
Yes.
And then, okay, back to the book and the paper. I mean, how much of the book and the paper do these students with learning disabilities actually use?
Most of the kids in there, we still make them. They still have to have, as far as work that is written down, because it's a lot of this stuff has to go in their folder for assessments or how we determine if they're ready to go to the next level or has so forth. So we do have to have some type of work, whether they can do it or not. It has to be attempted.
Okay,
So long as we have it showing that they did attempt it, it's good to go.
okay. All right. So, now you said assessments. Is that like part of the IEP? How does that work? Because I was reading last week in my book about the IEP for the kids with the learning disabilities.
With those students, with any student or any child that has an IEP, it can be a multi-disabled student or it can be just a regular student that may have a low, maybe can't function well in math or reading or science. They might have to have an IEP based on their learning disability.
Okay.
So they don't have to be really in, just say, in the multi-disability room. They could be in another resource room, but they may have small groups.
Oh, okay.
Well, there is a subject that they can't get and they fail very little, so they come in and do a small group. So having the IEP is a good thing for most students that can go into a small group where they can't get it into a regular classroom where you have 40 students and they can't get it there, but they can get it within a small group, 4 or 5 students.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Watts, for your time. And I guess this concludes our interview, and I'll be in touch with you.
No problem.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having me.
You're welcome.